Hey, what's up? I'm your host, Christian Patterson, here to bring you this week's edition of TV20's Inside Sports Report. This year's Senate Boys Basketball Championship for the Red Division was one for the books. It gave me the same feeling from last year's Game 7 in the Eastern Conference semifinals when Kawhi hit the last-second shot to send the Raptors to the conference finals. After a tight back-and-forth game in which East Tech's biggest lead was 6 points and Glenville's biggest lead was 10, it all came down to the final minute. A layup by junior forward Caleb Bolton extended Glenville's lead 45-42 with 1 minute and 13 seconds left. But a clutch three-point shot by East Tech's senior guard Ronald Jenkins tied the game up 45-45 with 53 seconds left on the clock. Glenville missed 2 free throws with 26 seconds remaining to set up the final play of the game. And who else would Coach trust with the ball in their hands with the game on the line more than leading scorer Ronald Jenkins? With heavy coverage from 2 defenders, Jenkins found some daylight to knock down a deep 3 at the buzzer for the win. East Tech 48, Glenville 45. This gave East Tech their 25th Senate championship in 32 appearances and their 6th title in 7 years. Sports journalism has been a male-dominant career for years. Television and print media have begun to hire more women to report on sports, but radio appears to be stagnant. From on-air talent to behind the scenes, sports talk radio is a male playground. But 2 Cleveland women are ready for a change.
I'm Rachel Hill.
I'm Cleveland Kate.
And we are Her in the Huddle.
There's such an untapped audience of people who would enjoy an intelligent conversation while hearing a woman's perspective on sports.
Being the only women's sports talk show in the country outside of ESPN, who everyone is familiar with, obviously, it's obviously a very huge thing because we're the only one in the country, so nobody else is doing this. So it's an opportunity that's unprecedented. It's groundbreaking, and I am so glad that I'm one of the people who have the opportunity to do that, because at the end of the day, one of the things that we want to do is pay it forward. We never know who is looking up to us. We never know the other young ladies who just want that opportunity like us. Like I was saying, access and opportunity is something that is always fleeting for women in sports.
In today's world, it's hard enough just to be a female fan of a sport. You make a comment about football on social media and a bunch of guys will tell me to get back in the kitchen and make a sandwich or whatever. They don't want to recognize that I actually know what I'm talking about when I'm breaking down pass routes or X's or O's or things like that. And so being on this radio show has been amazing because it's given women a place to listen to other women talking about sports. We don't need to explain to them what's going on. If they're listening to the show, they already know. We do a little bit of education, but for the most part, we talk to our listeners like they're grown-ups who know what's going on and who understand sports, and we treat them with respect. Shout out to fullback Kyle Juszczyk from Lodi, Ohio, Cloverleaf High School. His team didn't win.
Harvard grad.
But dog, as a fullback, got a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Ohio was well represented, but
there were 7, I believe, 7 players in the Super Bowl from Ohio. There were some former Browns.
So we do, I know.
Mitchell Schwartz and Cameron Irving, who apparently weren't good enough to play here, but are good enough to be in the Super Bowl.
The Mitchell Schwartz.
Ultimately, being an on-air talent is decided on by management. In WOVU, station director Jay Williams saw potential in Rachel and Kate.
Rachel, we call her the first lady of sports. Rachel Hill has been embedded in sports. And if you say Shaker Heights, if you say the Ohio State and you mess up and just say Ohio State, she'll call you on the paper on it. You know, she'll pull you over. But she has a heartbeat for sports. And we here at WOVU, we needed someone that could articulate sports and could find a way to make men and women to say, wow, she knows what she's talking about. One of, I believe, very few in the United States of America that actually are women that do sports and know it very, very, very well. She and Cleveland Kate has set a standard, a bar that's above, I believe, any sports commentators in Northeast Ohio. They are second to none, the best at what they do.
I mean, it's a lot of things for people to think about when they decide to go into football, and because it's not there, you know, rumors get to places before anything else. So we don't know what they're being told overseas about American football because they're not flocking to it. You know, they've been trying to grow this game. This has been a concentrated effort. And do those games even sell out when they're overseas? I know people from Cleveland who's went to those games, but if they're not selling out, you know, the NFL, they have a lot of work to do. But I know you don't like Canadian football, but I think that would be the natural place for the NFL to put a franchise, because you already have 2 other franchises there in 2 other sports, and then go from there.
Becoming a credentialed media member is somewhat like a fraternity, and you rarely see women in that domain.
But as I look around the press box at an Indians game or the locker room at a Browns game, there's me and Rachel and maybe 2 other women there. And most of the time, those women are from a national outlet like ESPN. They're not local. They're not radio. They're a much higher profile than we are. So it's been a struggle for us as women to be allowed into the same place where the men are allowed, and to be able to do a show that is traditionally a man's job. But you don't have to play football to talk about football. You don't have to play. There are an awful lot of men who are not 6'7" who make a living talking about the NBA and basketball. If you are smart enough to understand the game and willing to put in the time and work, you can talk about sports. And I think a show like mine and Rachel's lets other women know it's okay to like sports, it's okay to like sports, it's okay to talk about sports. You are perfectly capable of doing that.
Social media continues to grow and become more important. It allows you to reach a national or even international audience. Rachel was in the right place at the right time to capture a video that went viral, which helped build her brand.
Rachel did something that was so unique. Odell Beckham, she was the only one that took footage of him handing his cleats to a young person. Got over, a couple of million, maybe 5 million hits. So that right there set the bar for us.
Had an opportunity to talk with Odell Beckham after doing a video of him that went viral, and just thanking him for that video and just telling him how cool it was, and him saying thank you in the introduction. He's a sports superstar, so you never think that you're going to be able to go to training camp and be able to be on the sidelines with the players and have these conversations.
The number of female listeners are growing, and so should the talent.
And hopefully at some point, one of the TV stations in town will actually have a female sports anchor, or one of the other radio stations in town will let some women actually talk on the mic instead of being kept behind the scenes. So it's sort of a glass ceiling that we're breaking. But outside of ESPN, we are the only show in the nation that talks sports, and it's only women who are doing the talking. I was not happy with his play when he was here, because there were times where dude looked like he was on roller skates. His feet were moving so fast, he couldn't block anybody. I'm sorry that he had to leave to learn how to play the offensive line position correctly, but I'm glad it's worked out for him.
Yeah, I'm sure he.
You know, when we talk about ESPN, we talk about TNT, we talk about places. These ladies represent Cleveland in such a way, somebody said, we already done cracked the door open, right? We done bust the glass, right? Now we can look up and Rachel, the first lady of sports, can pull the next person, the next lady, you know, that want to come and springboard from WOVU. So where would I like to see them go? Man, the sky is the limit.
Make sure to tune in to 95.9 FM. WOVU for Her in the Huddle.
I think we give our fans something different. First of all, you have two female voices. We both love different sports, so we're going to have that passion for what we have our passion about. Kate has that passion for the Cleveland Browns, but I'm like, oh, okay. I have the passion for the Cleveland Indians. She's like, oh, okay. But I think we're giving you something real. We're giving you something raw. We're giving you something fresh. And we're giving you something that no other station is giving you. Two women talking sports. And also we have dynamic personalities as well. We get along, but we also fight too. So you don't always want the same opinion, but you can appreciate looking at something from a different angle, and that's what we give you. And we always tell you, get your notepads ready because you're about to learn something today.
Right back. This is Her in the Huddle on WOVU 95.9 FM. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching the Inside Sports Report. If you would like to catch past episodes of the Inside Sports Report, Classic Sports, or any city championship games, head over to our TV20 YouTube channel and click on subscribe.